Hi guys, I'm Garen.
I'm JD.
And this is Investigating Comic Club, where we chronologically read, review, discuss, and rate specific crucial stories of the medium.
Indeed, and we hope that you guys will subscribe, become members of Comic Club yourself. Share your opinions in the comments below. Stick around till after our discussion to give your own rating of the comic in our episodic comic quality poll, and after the Misfit Picture Show's logo for any potential bloopers that the episode could provide. Mr. Garen,
Yes.
We are doing the final of the initial issue ones of the launch of Dawn of X by the overseer Jonathan Hickman. Fallen Angels #1. Now this series does have a prior series, but before I get into any of that, this is by Bryan Hill, Zman, I hope, Kerensky, and Frank DeMata.
Yep, you did as well as I could have.
What are some of your overall thoughts of this issue before I give any history? Because there's some complicated history.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Overall, I'm more intrigued about this one than I thought I was going to be.
Okay. Yeah, I think that that's a pretty good response to a first issue. So The Fallen Angels, it was an 8-issue miniseries that was launched in 1987. At the time, it was Uncanny X-Men, New Mutants, and X-Factor. A couple of the characters were appearing in New Mutants regularly, a couple of the characters were appearing in X-Factor regularly. It tied extremely close into the monthly issues of New Mutants and X-Factor. From, I might be wrong on some specific issues, but it was like 53 to 58 of New Mutants, 17 to 22 of X-Factor. Now, X-Factor was written by Louise Simonson. New Mutants, up until issue 55, was written by Chris Claremont.
Okay, yep.
55, Louise Simonson took over New Mutants. So in the midst of this series tying into New Mutants, Claremont left and Louise Simonson took over. And all these issues tied fairly closely and referenced Fallen Angels quite a bit.
Gotcha.
Fallen Angels, it started with... Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the story because I think it could or it may not at all tie into this.
Okay.
But it feels like some of the things might come to light. And also, this would be a series, if you were ever to read it, it would be so far down the rabbit hole that you won't get to it for a couple years. So I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just going to tell you some backstory.
Okay.
Sunspot injures Cannonball during a game of soccer and is upset about it. So he takes off because a lot of the other characters in the series are like upset at him.
Yeah.
Because he was a bit reckless.
Yeah.
You know, and too competitive. Warlock goes with him. Those are from the New Mutants. And then Boom Boom, who was sticking with X-Factor at the time, she goes with them. Two of the other characters that happened to hook up with the Fallen Angels were Siren and Madrox, the Multiple Man. And it has been mentioned a couple times to you that Madrox and Siren, they had some type of relationship.
Yeah.
But it was with one of Madrox's doubles, and he doesn't remember it, and it kind of hurt Siren's feelings. Do you remember? So that all occurs in this series.
Gotcha.
Their romance.
Yeah.
They hook up. There's this alien planet called Coconut Grove, which at the time I thought it was really cheesy, but now the title of it sounds like super cool, like, I don't know, Neil Gaiman or somebody would come up with that name, and you're like, wow, what an imagination. I would never have thought of something like that. So Coconut Grove, their species came to an evolutionary dead end. And they sent one of their population down to Earth to kidnap some mutants to try and pop their own evolution.
Gotcha.
And that seems like it might tie into this stuff with the overlooked drug.
Yeah.
Because from this issue, we get a sense that this is some human that now that mutants are gone, he wants to evolve humanity with tech stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like, oh, wow, it's actually the Coconut Grove species, like 5 issues from now, revealed. Something like that. Now, completely separate from that, we've got Psylocke, Quanon, and Betsy Braddock. Now, the interesting thing here is that those two characters probably have the most convoluted and complex origins and history of any X-Men characters.
Yeah.
In such a way that it's like, let's not even talk about that. let's not even reference it. I think it's kind of wild that 2 of their 6 ongoing series so far are focused on these 2 characters that have these absolutely ridiculous backstories. I think that that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
For you as a new reader, what do you understand about their backstory at this point?
Well, we've talked before, as reading it for the first time, especially when we read it, it's things don't jump out. The names do. Know the name, recall it from Powers, recall it from the last few issues of different things that's popped up. I know it means something, but it's more or less the actual connection between it all. They've talked about that. Oh, I can see there's some kind of history there. There's some kind, there's
tension.
There's tension there.
In Excalibur, Betsy Braddock becomes the new Captain Britain.
Yes.
And we saw Psylocke a couple panels in that.
Yeah.
And there is some definite tension there. That's really all you need to know. They have also said that at some point, Betsy Braddock was using Quannen's body.
Yes. Yeah.
And where was Quannen at this time? And in this issue, we hear that she was aware of it.
Yeah.
But she couldn't.
Yeah.
She was just aware of it and couldn't speak about it. So the big history here, one of my favorite characters is a character named Spiral. And she had something called the Body Shop, which is this other dimensional tech place that essentially would recreate any person or mutant through technological means. So that she took Quanon and Betsy Braddock and essentially took the English Betsy Braddock's mind and shoved it into the Asian Quannen's body. And Quannen's mind was just, let's just say, thrown aside.
I thought the whole Vanessa and Domino experience was crazy.
So that, you can even get a sense of potentially the Body Shop and the way they would recreate people technologically might work into this story in the future as well. So that's kind of why I just wanted to give that history of it. Personally, I think the colorist in this is maybe a bigger star than the artist.
Oh, no, I watched, again, reading it panel by panel. I then like to go back over it and kind of see, because there are some panels, especially in this one, because each panel, some of these are like just on their eye for the entire conversation, or just on the mouth for just the conversation. So I'm like, this kind of helps, but then I pull back.
It might look better
even
as a page.
like that whole page.
That's a
like
page.
that's whole page.
He's
like
designing that whole page.
some of these are just pages, but I'm seeing it as like this.
Yeah, that doesn't
and they don't give it its...
It doesn't do it its justice.
It doesn't do its justice, or this. Like this.
Yeah, wow, this is the first one I've seen where it's definitively better as a page.
Yeah. I do agree with you saying the colorist maybe out.
I was really surprised that it wasn't this, for such a melding of line artwork and color to be together like this. I really surprised me that the artist wasn't the colorist, that he wasn't doing all of it, because it is such a combo. It seems like the art, black and white, I don't think it would be nearly as good. I actually was saying to you when we were reading it, the first couple pages, while it was dynamic and really beautiful, a lot of the art seemed stiff, a little staged. And then flipping to that page with the crash of that train took my breath away. It's really, really special and super detailed. So that is
so detailed.
This one, the color is impressive, but this one, it's the actual line art that is impressive.
It's
really
crazy
great dynamic duo.
It's a good tag team. It seems like bamboo kind of structure of, I don't even know how to explain it.
Well, it is very Japanese.
Yes.
The title Bushido it's like the way of the warrior. It's like the honor of a samurai. The pacing of this issue, I could see someone not enjoying it. I did a lot of watching. There's a filmmaker, I think he's maybe for me personally, in the movies I've seen and the stories that I've experienced told in cinema, Akira Kurosawa, I think he's probably the best storyteller in film of all time. And he did like 50 movies. He's a Japanese storyteller, and this story, its pacing, it felt to me like that. Mm-hmm. I could see it not being much for people, but I think it's a big compliment to the writer Bryan Hill.
Yeah.
That he's capturing this flavor, and it's very appropriate for what this is. Almost like a masterless samurai, these people are.
Yeah. This felt like more into it was like Matrix-esque Black Ops kind of feel to it.
Like when they go and question that person.
Yeah, the colors even get darker in those moments. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the slow pacing of it, which is ironic because this one flowed for me as far as I was like,
that's great.
Going through it all, I'm like, oh, cool. This is like, ooh, I'm Black Ops. Ooh, I'm going in there. Oh, we got to get a team together. Oh, it's Sinister. Oh, Magneto comes in, and that shot of Magneto, that panel of him, it's funny how they throw that in there for this issue being the one right after Xavier dies. And
again, it's not
there's one line in this entire thing that points to it. Mm-hmm. It's like, he passed. I'm still trying to figure out, what's going on here.
Yeah.
I can't let you leave. And it's like, is that what?
It's acknowledging that Xavier is dead.
Yep.
Doesn't seem a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big... Yeah. Maybe. It's... Also, we're looking at in a very... in this issue, we'll talk more about this in the X-Men review, but in this issue in particular, it's a very close view. Shadows. It focuses on very few people. Yeah, for somebody like Psylocke, she and Quanon in particular, she's barely had any interaction with Charles in my mind, and she's not comfortable with Paradise. Mm-hmm. And I think that these characters are moving forward when we hear more and more about, this isn't Paradise. These guys are going to come into play. I really like, you had said, the flowing of it. This is a real, each issue has had a real definitive identity. And I can't even really quite title the genres that they're doing.
Yeah.
But I love the combo of samurai tech.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That's like ancient training that she's been given with Cable.
Yeah.
And
X-23. Yeah, it's so cool to have
cool
that like
combo. Yeah. And then something like Japan, which is very appropriate. Such a far ahead society, far moving, quick with their devices, wanting the next plug-in, to have this tech drug that they're going for. That combating with the flashbacks to her being trained and this wisdom, or maybe not wisdom, but this training that she's giving. I think it's a really, really cool combo. And then underneath that all, X-Men universe. Yeah. It's pretty wild. So this is the 6th issue of these Dawn of X titles, and each one is distinct. Yeah. Each one's distinct. Each one has a little flavor for depending on your age, what you're into. Boy, I did think at one point, if you were, my 13-year-old self would have loved this issue, but I don't know, 12 or 13-year-olds, I don't think this is necessarily the comic for them. Oh, yeah, right. But maybe it is. They've got, as we go forward, it's going to have like the mind control of it all, and the darkness of the eyes, and then at the end with the kids and everything. Like it's just you're just like, if this was actually in a film or something, like opening up that barn, and just seeing that, that would be super creepy. Yeah, that would be pretty effective. And then to have them just all pretty much the switch, and they all die. Yeah, it's bleak. Yeah. It feels like the world... These characters feel appropriate in this world. Nathan... Did they kill him, right? Yeah. Which is another thing where it's like... Killing children. You're killing children! That is a can of worms that... Yeah, it's surprising. Disney is still owning Marvel. Maybe this one slipped under the radar. With Psylocke and Betsy Braddock, I thought they added the Quanon layer much, much later. Like, her, like, it seemed at the time like the Asian Psylocke was just a recreated body in the body shop.
Gotcha.
But the pre-existing idea of that Japanese woman was much, much later, and I thought it was just more complicated for an already complicated story to try and like tell that origin to the average person. That being so, I think now I'm fascinated with this new status quo of both of these characters, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think the idea that we're given here, what does she say? Well, in the flashback, this gentleman is talking about Japan, but if you the guy that was training her, which Matsuo is the guy that supposedly trained her, but this gentleman who we see in the flashback seems a lot older. But he says, and he's talking about Japan, you were not made to stay on an island. Civilization is a lie. You are a weapon against all lies. He's talking about Japan. But if you think about that as Krakoa, civilization is this whole... It works.
Yeah.
You know, for what we're suspecting. Yeah. And I think at this point it's more than a suspicion. Like,
that it's the...
it's not...
Krakoa is...
That something's out.
Yeah.
Apoth?
Yeah. Apothecary, you think?
I looked that up. As its own, it's from like ancient Greek. And like it means, I saw God or like anti-God, but also it's a distributor of drugs, narcotics.
Apothecary.
So that like kind of works with what we're reading.
Yeah, the drugs, the what's it called? The euphoria drug that it creates within them. Like, I think that's what intrigues me the most is like you do have this like Black Ops against this mind control where you're like, okay, and it kind of takes you not out of it, but being like, oh, this is still X-Men, but you're like, oh, how is this going to now connect? Because you have someone out there who is not mutant, who is trying to control people, and then you even see that, is that her daughter at the beginning who blows up the train?
That's a big revelation that she loved someone, and boy, she looks very young. That she loved someone, that they have this child, that they killed the father and tattooed, branded the baby. But then it sounded like they killed the baby. That is all brand new mythos.
Gotcha.
From this issue. And it certainly seems like that's what her suspicion is, that the baby wasn't killed.
Yeah.
With the timing of it as well, like the age of that child looks correct.
Well, it even says, if fates are kind, perhaps you will find her again.
Right. And even X-23 says when she feeds X-23. I like it again, like, I feel these three characters could really bond in a really cool, mature, unspoken way. These aren't people that are going to express themselves. But for Psylocke to just touch X-23 and share something so vulnerable, like she exposes herself.
Oh, no,
like
it's a bit, like, it's,
okay,
her being able to do that and be like, oh,
it gives me goosebumps. You know, that type of bond, I'm very drawn to it. This could be a very elegant, cool series, man. These are really
just right
interesting
away
characters.
You have a daughter?
Right.
Oh, my God. You know, like just...
And Silex, are you coming?
Yep, we're going. I have a location. Let's do this.
And, you know, I think it's very telling that X-23 does go.
But it also goes with X-23. And why Psylocke even had her come, being like, it's safe here. Yeah. You are a fighter. Yeah. You should come with me. You need to, you know.
Boy, she's a tragic character. Just wait till you read. There's two writers, Chris Yost.
And just,
the other gentleman who co-created her, their work with her character, she is a super tragic character. I think that we're going to see all these characters being their bond will become something super, super great. Fallen Angels, one thing of note as well, the original series, its first title, and there were actually ads with it, its first title was Misfits.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be a series about Misfits. I'm looking forward to I know by issue 10 they're going to all love each other. They're going to be closer than blood, you know. Psylocke's butterfly, the purple butterfly.
Yeah.
So when Betsy Braddock was originally Psylocke, and Alan Davis and Chris Claremont introduced her to the X-Men family and New Mutants and stuff, whenever she would do something psychically, the like effect of her like mind kind of entering yours was a purple butterfly. And this is Betsy Braddock. So that Psylocke has a purple thing. Like there's still a strong link there. You know, I could see the larger Dawn of X, these two Fallen Angel and Excalibur titles eventually like crossing over a bit. You know, that's something that has to be dealt with. And I think that it's, as it moves forward, that's going to be a cool thing to see these two characters play off each other.
Yeah. I like how Sinister, it's just like, stop wasting my time. Stop wasting my time.
It's really dialogue heavy. I'm glad that you enjoyed the pace of it.
It was dialogue heavy, but it wasn't, besides some things, there wasn't really a lot of information that I was thrown off. Even some of the tech pages I was like intrigued by and reading, and gave you enough of like, oh, that's what overclock. That's the thing. Overclock, there's several times it's spelled overlook. Or overlock. Overlock and overclock. It's spelled differently several times, and I don't think that's a mistake because it's done so often. So I was a little bit confused with which one for where. I feel like it's got both names. But it's cool. I think you feel the history of her character. You feel the history of X-23. Not so much Cable in this issue, but they keep it on the present story that they're doing. Yeah. Which is, I think, and it's great that have them come in, and even all the way up to the ending where it has like her master teaches her, and now she has it, and now it's like, okay, now we have to do this. Let's get a team together who we can all trust. It's like, and then it has that ending with the whole, I'll make you into butterflies. You know, that I'm creating you into the fighters you can be. You guys are fighters at heart, but and it is cool, but at the same time, these are children. Yeah, and she is an assassin, and sure, she's going after her child. It's going to be very complicated. It's going to be a good series, I think. There's some good stuff here. Yeah, it's pretty rich. Okay, what did you think of? There's just one last thing I wanted to kind of. I think it was interesting. The blood that she cuts herself, and it actually creates plant life on Krakoa, mutant blood. That was interesting. I think it's kind of like, oh, what a beautiful thing, but no, I don't think so. There's another thing that's not. Yeah, it's another thing that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, that is one of those deeper things of, because even her meditating, with having the butterflies all around her, she's more connected than most. That's for dang sure. But the blood in there takes the most elegant, like most beautiful page, and then when you actually think about it, you're like, oh, it's a little off. Yeah, this person who reaches out and communicates with her, this like black cloud presence, seems dark. Is it a manipulation of the person who's behind the drugs because of the black eyes? Plenty to explore in the future. Plenty to explore. I enjoyed it. What would you give this little book? I'd give it an A. Wow. Yeah. It's crazy. It is. That's outstanding. Yeah. That's really cool. Which I wasn't expecting at all. I laughed actually when I finished it, going, that's funny. Because it's not the one, again, I didn't know really a lot about it, so I didn't have any expectations, which was cool. I haven't read anything by Bryan Hill. I've heard good things about him, I think. And I was impressed by the rhythm, the way that this moved. I really enjoyed it. I would give this issue a B+. A B+. Yeah. Nice. All right. What do you guys give it? Huh? A, B, C, D, or F? Huh? Huh? Comic Quality Poll. You know how it's done. Click it. Let us know. Let's conversate below. And I actually am always intrigued. It's the best part is we do this so fast and kind of take it all in and enjoy talking with us, but we learn mostly also by your guys' comments, and that is what we look forward to each week. So yeah, it is really cool. I think, as Garen just said, we read it and then we jump in and record. We don't consider
it at all. It's when you start commenting that the consideration kind of starts happening, and oh, you're right, what about this one? So we appreciate that very much. I hope that you guys keep commenting, and I look forward to those discussions.
To be continued.
Let me guess. Powers of X number 3.
I think you might be right. I don't know why it just... 4.
Well, I quit.
You should. Should quit.
You
Don't.
never...
What?
You never give me anything.